Well, here we are in Module 4, getting ready to start the fourth week of our semester. Hopefully, you've started to settle into the groove of the class. Those first couple weeks I know were a bit challenging. I kind of like having those early in the semester because it gives you time to go back and work on those challenging topics throughout the first 6 or 7 weeks of the course leading up to that midterm exam. I think the material that we are getting into now over the next few weeks is you'll find you'll probably a little more familiar with it, which is good. So here we are. Let's take a look at what we have in Module 4. One thing to note in Module 4 is that we're also getting close to our first competency test. I'll talk about those a little bit later. But Module 4 is still about whole numbers. It's the second half of Chapter 3, covering multiplication, division, and exponents. We're, of course, working on this video right now. There are slides, PowerPoint slides. Again, these are really now moving forward. I've intentionally made those align better with the videos that I provide. And there are two sets of PowerPoints to go inside with the two sections. There's your smart book. I've also included printable base 5 and base 10 pieces, since we'll be using those again in these sections. We, of course, have our discussion board. This is, again, more of a reflection back like we did in Chapter 2. It's about all of Chapter 3, what we've really done over the last 2 weeks. So be sure to consider your own learning. What are you confident? What are you least confident in? Terminology. Was anything surprising? Do you still have questions? All those things, right? You don't need to answer all of those, but they're more of a guide as you reflect. Instructional videos. I've tried to make these now a little bit shorter and more consumable. There are more of them, but you'll see that they are a bit shorter than what I had previously. So hope you find those a little bit more consumable. Again, several for section 3.3, and then the same with section 3.4. Again, make sure you watch all those and treat those kind of like the main source of your information that you're getting. There's, of course, a homework assignment on Connect. And then we're going to see the information about our competency test. Just like in last week's module, I provide you a link for review. Let's take a quick look at that again. Maybe you looked at it, maybe you didn't. The first thing you'll notice is that there are two links here to Khan Academy, which help you practice the information that will be on this very first test. Then there are two links to my practice test, which I created, and then the solutions to that practice test. So if it were me, I would work on some of these first and then go down and take that practice test under the same conditions that your actual test will be in. Again, you will have, let me get back to Blackboard here. In competency A, right, you'll have a time limit. You'll have 40 minutes to complete those 10 questions. So I try to make that plenty of time for you to do that. Make sure that when you do those also, when you get to those competency tests, you can have blank paper out to work on. Let me show you a little bit around what's in this folder here. Completing competency test A. So first of all, there's a video that walks you through the process about how to access it, because you will be using Respondus Lockdown Browser and Monitor. And if you've never used that before, it's a separate browser, kind of like Google Chrome or Firefox, that you have to go into in order to open up and access the test. There's a separate video just about how Respondus works. There's also some typed information about how Respondus Lockdown Browser works. Make sure you're really comfortable and really familiar with that information before you start the competency test. Also, you'll see this right here. It says take a one-question test before you actually start it. This doesn't count for any points, but what it does is it makes you use Respondus Lockdown Browser to access this question. You then go through the process that you will actually do You'll need to have a photo ID available. You'll have to demonstrate your workspace. And this gives you an opportunity to practice that, also to make sure that all of your technology is working before you get to the real thing. Now, this is a critical component too. Before you can actually access the competency test, this will be true for all of them. You'll need to agree to the academic integrity statement. It's basically saying that all of this work will be your own. You'll act according to the instructions. It'll be all your work. You will agree with that. Once you do that, you will then get access to attempt one. If you don't do that, you'll just see it, but you won't actually be able to open it. Okay. Now, attempt number one is due on the 24th. So that's a Wednesday. So it opens, it becomes available for you to take on, let's see, I think on Thursday. Let me just double check that. Yeah, Thursday the 18th. So you can start it anytime between the 18th, but it has to be done by the 24th, which is that following Wednesday. If you don't reach the 90% that you need in order to pass it, then a second attempt will become available to you. You won't see this otherwise. You'll then have until the following Sunday to complete that. If you don't pass that one with 90%, then you will have attempt three up here. I'll send another video about this and reminders about this toward the end of the week, just as a reminder about that. Once you get a little comfortable with the process, you'll see how that does work. Now, with that being said, competency test A opens this week. Competency test B opens next week. So there's a little bit of an overlap. I included the review information for competency test B in this week's module. This one is about sign numbers, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing with signed numbers, negative numbers, along with the order of operations. So just like I did for test A, I provided links to Khan Academy that will help you practice. I put a practice test along with practice test solutions. Now, I would, of course, focus on test A this week, but if you want to just start getting in your mind what we're going to be doing on the following week, this is what's coming. This will feel a little busy, right? Like you have test after test after test. Make sure you get those dates locked in your calendar. You know when those things are due, and you'll have plenty of time to prepare and get those done. All right, that is it for this module. I just wanted to be sure to give you a heads up about that test information. Again, you can expect some more information coming later this week.